Hello and welcome to another episode of Relate and Illuminate. I'm so excited today to talk to my friend, my guru, my yoga teacher, so many things because this is Sri Aiken. By the way, welcome Sri.
Thank you, Stephanie.
We've known each other 15 plus years, I think now. And let me tell you a little bit about him. He's been practicing yoga for 50 years approximately. Mm-hmm. He's been teaching it for 38 years, I think we figured out. And then he's done massage, shiatsu, all kind of other things. But he lives the yoga life in that they grow all their own food and they live consciously, right?
Yes.
So what I'm going to talk to you guys today about and to Sri about is consciousness in an unconscious world.
All right, it's needed.
Yes. So I'm going to put the spotlight on him and we'll be right back. So consciousness is a mysterious thing, isn't it?
Yes.
And would you define it as awareness? Is that part of it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's really all of it.
That's all of it.
Yeah. Being present or aware, being in the moment, being connected with that part of you that sees into the world.
Right. And to your emotions, and yet not to be, I know I've heard this, attached.
Well, everything comes out of consciousness. So you could say, if you connected to the source inside of you, your beingness, that's like your pure consciousness. And then consciousness comes out in waves of thoughts, waves of talking, waves of manifesting. It's all, everything's consciousness.
Right. Now, what about the people that don't have that connection to?
Well, everybody has it, but just a matter of what you're connecting to. So when you're able to stay centered and connected to your own inner beingness, you're going to go to a deeper level of consciousness, which is more peaceful and more all-inclusive. There's more of a place of unity instead of a place of separation. So when we're caught up in our stresses and our anxiety and our emotions and things like that, that pulls you more out of that state, but it's still consciousness. You know, everyone's aware they're doing something, you know, so it's just a matter of, you know, where you're able to keep your focus. So most people lose their focus in the outer world, in object world, but when you're able to stay centered in yourself, and when I'm able to talk to you, but speaking from inside me instead of lost in the conversation and lost in feelings and emotions or judgments or opinions, that's where it doesn't seem as friendly.
Right. So that's suffering, right? I mean, you can suffer when you're in that state.
Yeah, well, anything separate from God, we're actually suffering.
Yeah.
To some level.
So it's a universal energy. Would you describe it?
It is the universal energy.
It is the universal energy.
You could say it's God. You could say it's universal energy. You could say it's what everything comes out of. Mm-hmm. However you want to describe that. But that's consciousness itself.
So if you're suffering, how can you relieve it?
By getting more connected to yourself.
To your real self.
Yeah. You know, bring the attention back inside your beingness. So, you know, that's where you meditate. That's where you can do things that are more in you, like when you have aware that your breath is going in and out. Mm-hmm. You're conscious your breath is breathing. That's going to pull you out of being separate out in the world. And it's going to have a little better feeling to it.
So you mentioned meditation. People are always asking me, how do you meditate?
Yeah.
So I kind of know, but I'd love for you to answer that question.
There's unlimited ways to meditate. And purpose of meditation is really just to relax your mind, learning how to turn off the thoughts. You know, not turn them off actually, as much as just not to be affected by them. You know, thoughts are never the problem. Everyone thinks meditation is supposed to be stop the thoughts. Well, if you try to stop it, it just makes it worse. Yes. So it's more just allowing everything to be as it is. So awareness can pull back and just watch. You know, with practice, you can, just like you can watch your breath, you can watch your thoughts in your head. You can watch your feelings that you're having inside of you. You know.
Let the thoughts flow through, kind of, and not attached to
You know, like your consciousness would be like the blue sky, and the clouds are the things going through the sky. So, but we tend to, all we pay attention to is the cloud. It's like all you're paying attention to is the thoughts or the feeling. You get caught up in that separation, but it's all contained in that blue sky, which consciousness, when you're able to expand your consciousness, you're more able to be in touch with that blue sky all the time, so those clouds going through don't pull you away from it, where you're separate more.
So I went on a retreat in this past May with you, and it was a yoga retreat in Costa Rica, and it was such a learning thing for me. And so I thank you for that, but you know that. What I really got from it, I got so much from it, but one of the things I got was how to not react. And so can you expound on that a little bit?
How do you think it worked that you didn't react? Because it's going to be kind of different for everybody.
I gotcha. So I guess I caught myself reacting to somebody else's behavior. And then all of a sudden it was a mirror to me. And I realized, why didn't I just let that person be and not have to respond or react to whatever it was, you know? I don't even know what she was meaning, really, or he was, you know.
And you become more aware of that because of the practices we do. We do all the practice we do is about something about going inside of yourself. So when you do that, we're doing like 4 yoga classes a day and lots of breathing and mantra work and, you know, meditations and physical moves as well, but it's all experiencing yourself, so you get used to a space inside yourself. And then the outside space, you know, it's like once you get in your own inner being, is first of all, like I'm home. And so when you get separate again, you know, then it's a little bit more jarring, let's say. And then, you know, the ego part of us wants to protect and wants to do all these things to protect itself, really. And so, but it's a game you got to play, you know, to keep pulling yourself back into, you know, being centered, you know. But it's not the same as you cut the world off, right? Because that actually takes an energy it's a blocking energy. It actually takes effort. It's actually a form of suffering to put a wall up, right? So, you know, we have all these defense type mechanisms, but, you know, the more you practice of going back to the sky space, you know, you start to notice more and more, you know, those things that kind of separate you, and you go, you know, I want to think the way I used to. I'm not going to worry about that. You know, they can be the way they want to be. That's okay. They don't have to be the way I think they're supposed to be. You know, we have all these judgments and opinions. You know, that's the suffering. The suffering because we think, you know, from our limited perspective, we still think we know what should be happening when we really don't know a whole lot.
No, the smartest thing I've ever said was, I don't know.
And that's what you discover is the more you merge into the whole, you know, the more you see the multiplicity of all of life, and it's just a humbling experience, and it kind of puts you in your place, and it's more of a place of awe, and then you're able to work with the whole more than the separate space, so you can start to see the good in things easier, and you can understand why people are not acting the way you think they should, because you do the same thing.
They're not you either.
And everyone does it in their own way, so everybody is trying to survive, and ultimately everything is becoming more conscious if they know it or not. Life's training us in a forceful, painful way. If we can assist the situation, it can maybe take a little of that pressure off, where it's not so much as changing life, it's more just changing the way we're responding to life. Being able to stay in that, more centered space makes everything better.
So I know you talk about creative energy, and that's, consciousness and creativity have a lot in common or go together. You have good imagination, intuition. What more would you want to say about that?
Well, the more you are connected to your still space beingness inside of you, it is a potential. It's an energy. Consciousness is an energy. It's a potential energy that everything arises from. So if you can get down to that more pure self, where you're not caught up in anything, it's like an artist that, to be creative on the canvas, they have to let go of everything and just let something come through. Mm-hmm. So in the same way, when we can connect down to that living life, pure life force that's inside of you, and do it in a neutral way, and just tap into that energy and just let it, express itself through what's natural and comes easy for you, because we're all different and unique, and that creative energy is just going to create your art in your life. And we're the one that's actually painting the scene. It's just a matter of, is it going to be a bunch of garbage, or we can actually get in and kind of steer it a little bit, and then let the creative energy,
flow.
You have to direct it into how you're perceiving it, which we're all doing that a little different. So we all have this creative potential, and we want, and the more connected we are to consciousness, the more that potential can come out into the best part of you and get the best results. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah, it's a good way to say it. I'd love for you to define deja vu.
Deja vu.
Have you heard? You've heard that.
Deja vu, or synchronicity, or words like that. Like you have a feeling that you've met someone before, or this seems very familiar, and maybe it is somebody we've met before, maybe, or maybe it's just a frequency vibration, if someone's kind of at the same frequency you are, when you get along with someone really well, and just being, you run into somebody just kind of at your frequency, that's kind of a deja vu feeling, right? It might just be there's a similarity there, or maybe it is, who knows, past life connection, or something that triggers something. But I would always say it's a good thing, because it does always feel good, right? It's always it's a magical. And,
it is a magic feeling.
And I think, the more we get in tune, I think the more of those type of experiences you have.
And you've explored consciousness your whole life, it sounds like, except for, when you were very young, I guess you were curious, but it took a new level when you started practicing yoga. You are exploring it now with kundalini yoga. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about that? Because it's a different energy.
Yeah, it's just another way of, being able to tap into consciousness. And the idea of kundalini yoga is, you could say, the kundalini is that unawakened consciousness inside of you. And the kundalini, when you tap into it, it's actually awakening consciousness. Mm. or that energy inside. You know, they relate it to like the serpent or the snake that, you know, so, you know, the idea is it kind of spirals up the spine, you know, from one, it's supposedly stuck at the base of the spine, we're more unconscious. And that just means it's unconscious. You could say it's like your spiritual energy. We're unconscious when we're just caught up into the material world. You know, the survival. I'm here to survive. I'm struggling in life. Where you just more are caught up in the worry, the attachment to things, doing things, and just, you know, surviving and getting through, which we all have to do. It's all part of life. But if that's all you do, you know, your whole life, you know, it's going to be quite a stressful life and painful life. So actually that stress and pain is what you actually need to be able to experience, because when you have enough of it, you finally surrender.
I think that's what happened to me
and
on
you finally,
retreat. I said, I've had enough.
You finally give up, or you just do anymore. But if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't want to let go and go to something different. So it's actually how we evolve, and we always resist, and we don't want to suffer, we don't want any of that, but it's actually what evolves you is by being confronted by it. And, you know, and as you do allow it more to happen, you're actually able to manage it much better and make better choices, and make better choices when, you know, because life is a struggle for everybody. There's always struggle in life, but that's how you evolve. And
what I like is that you're still evolving, even though you've come a long, long way.
There's no end. No end, and that's kind of the fun part of it. You know, what would happen at the end? Okay, I'm done. It's just exciting to realize, you know, and as you know, consciousness, just like nature, it grows and it evolves and it changes and it has seasons. And it's got this unending energy, but consciousness itself, universal energy, is evolving. It's the natural state of it, is the universe is expanding all the time. You know, even you could say Earth has a consciousness. The planet, you know, like this planet's way, way different than millions of years ago, right? So it's evolved too. Everything's evolving. And it, you know, so there's no end to anything. It might, you know, the Earth may dissolve one day and then something else is reborn. That energy potential goes someplace else. Just like our life's over and that energy is going to go someplace else. So it's just the play of consciousness. That's that name of that book Muktananda wrote. It's a good book.
So thank you, Sri, for joining us and sharing your knowledge, your wisdom. I so admire you.
No.
You're an example for me and my evolving. So I want to thank you and sharing all these concepts.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and it's so nice to have people that enjoy that, to have some company along the way, because it makes everything nicer when, you know, it can be shared and spread, and it just kind of overflows and just has a good effect on everything. As you have a good effect on me, I have a good effect on you. It's called a win-win, you know, which life works out the best, and so is consciousness when you're in the win-win situation.
Yeah, we want that. We need that.
Yeah.
So look for us on social media and YouTube and at Relate and Illuminate, or email us at relateandilluminate@gmail.com, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Okay.